Love can be beautiful, but sometimes it can turn into an obsession, and when jealousy, betrayal, and anger mix together, it creates something terrifying. Today, we dive deep into a chilling true crime case that began as a secret romance but ended in an unthinkable crime. What makes this case even more disturbing is where the victim's body was buried, hidden in plain sight in one of the most secure locations in the city. This is the story of Ekta Gupta, a woman who disappeared without a trace until the shocking truth was uncovered. The story takes place in Kanpur, a major city in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. Our central figure, Ekta Gupta, was a 32-year-old woman who appeared to have the perfect life. She was married to a successful businessman, Rahul Gupta, and together they had 2 children. To outsiders, Ekta and Rahul seemed like a happy couple. They lived comfortably, had financial stability, and their children were their pride and joy. But beneath this picture-perfect life, something was brewing, something that no one could have predicted. Ekta was passionate about fitness. She had always been conscious of her health, which is why she maintained a strict workout routine. Every morning, she would visit a well-known gym near Green Park Stadium, a famous cricket venue in Kanpur. It was at this gym where she met a man who would change the course of her life forever, Vimal Soni. Vimal Soni was a gym trainer in his early 30s. He was charming, fit, and had a way with words. Ekta, being a regular at the gym, hired Vimal as her personal trainer. At first, their relationship was strictly professional, but as time passed, their casual conversations turned into flirtations, and those flirtations soon became something much more dangerous. Despite being married, Ekta found herself drawn to Vimal. He was different from her husband, exciting, spontaneous, and full of energy. Their private training sessions became longer. They started meeting outside the gym, and before long, what started as a casual friendship had transformed into a full-blown secret affair. Ekta knew what she was doing was risky. She had a husband and children, but something about Vimal made her feel alive in a way she hadn't in years. What she didn't know was that this very relationship would lead to her tragic fate. For months, things between Ekta and Vimal went smoothly. But in May 2024, their passionate affair hit a sudden roadblock. Vimal's family had been searching for a bride for him, and without his input, they arranged his marriage. His wedding date was set, and preparations had already begun. Ekta was furious when she found out. She felt betrayed. How could Vimal be in love with her and still agree to marry someone else? She confronted him, demanding answers. The once loving couple now found themselves in constant fights. Vimal, on the other hand, was stuck in a dilemma. He didn't want to lose Ekta, but he also couldn't defy his family's wishes. As the wedding date approached, Ekta's anger only grew. She felt like Vimal had used her and was now abandoning her for an arranged marriage. Then, something changed. After days of ignoring him, Ekta suddenly resumed her gym visits. On the morning of June 24th, 2024, she walked into the gym at exactly 7 a.m. She and Vimal met face-to-face, and as expected, another heated argument erupted. But what neither of them knew was that this argument would be their last. After finishing her workout, Ekta left the gym as usual. She was expected home by 8:30 a.m., but hours passed, and she never returned. At first, Rahul, her husband, assumed she had gone to meet a friend. But as morning turned to afternoon, and then to evening, panic set in. He called her repeatedly. Her phone was switched off. Something was wrong. Rahul began calling Ekta's friends, asking if they had seen her, but no one had any idea where she was. By nightfall, fear gripped him. He rushed to the nearest police station to file a missing persons report, but to his shock, the police refused to take his complaint seriously. "She's a grown woman," the officers told him. "Maybe she went out and forgot to inform you. Come back after 24 hours if she's still missing." Frustrated and helpless, Rahul had no choice but to wait. But deep down, he knew. Something terrible had happened to his wife. When 24 hours passed with no sign of Ekta, the police finally took action. The first thing they did was check the CCTV footage from the gym. The video confirmed that Ekta had arrived at the gym at 7 a.m. She was also seen leaving the gym shortly after. But what happened next was a complete mystery. Police then turned their focus on Vimal Soni. That's when they discovered something alarming. Since June 24th, the very day Ekta vanished, Vimal had also disappeared. His phone was switched off. He had stopped coming to the gym. He was nowhere to be found. With no other leads, the police started suspecting that Ekta and Vimal had run away together. But Rahul refused to believe it. He insisted that Vimal had done something to his wife. By October, 4 months since Ekta had gone missing, there was still no trace of her. But then, everything changed. Through mobile surveillance, police tracked a phone call made to one of Vimal's relatives. To their shock, the voice on the call was Vimal himself. This was the break they needed. They traced the call's location and arrested Vimal Soni. Vimal initially denied everything, but after hours of questioning, he finally broke down. He confessed, "I killed her." The police were stunned. They had spent months thinking Ekta had voluntarily disappeared, but now they had confirmation. This was a murder. However, the real shock came when they asked, "Where is her body?" Vimal smirked before dropping a bombshell. "She's buried in the safest place in the city." Following Vimal's directions, police arrived at an empty plot of land inside the district magistrate's compound, one of the most secure places in the city. What they found sent chills down their spines. 8 feet below the surface, they uncovered human bones wrapped in tattered clothing. DNA tests later confirmed the worst. They belonged to Ekta Gupta. The police were left with more questions than answers. Why would Vimal bury her here, in such a high-security area? Had he planned the murder all along, or was he trying to send a message? As investigations continued, more disturbing details emerged. With Ekta Gupta's remains uncovered, the police now had to piece together exactly what had happened. Why had Vimal Soni, her former lover, killed her? And how did he manage to bury her in such a high-security area without getting caught? As investigators dug deeper, they found that Vimal's cold-blooded crime wasn't impulsive. It was premeditated. On the morning of June 24th, 2024, after their argument at the gym, Vimal knew he had to silence Ekta forever. He feared that she would expose their affair to his fiancée and his family, ruining his upcoming marriage. He called Ekta that afternoon, asking her to meet him at his rented room near Rawatpur railway station. At first, Ekta refused, but Vimal begged, promising he would break off his engagement and choose her. Ekta took the bait. She arrived at his room around 1 p.m. No one knows exactly what was said between them, but at some point, the conversation turned violent. During the heated confrontation, Vimal grabbed a heavy dumbbell, the same one he used for training clients, and swung it at Ekta's head. The impact was fatal. Ekta collapsed instantly, blood pooling around her head. She was dead. Vimal panicked. He hadn't planned what to do next. He knew that if he was caught, his life would be over. He needed to get rid of the body, but where? That's when he had an idea. Vimal knew that dumping Ekta's body in the open would get him caught. He needed a place where no one would think to look. That's when he remembered a vacant plot of land inside the district magistrate's compound. It was a restricted area, which meant that no one would dare dig there. That night, Vimal wrapped Ekta's body in a bedsheet, stuffed it into a large bag, and carried it out of his room. He then transported her body to the secured government compound, a place he had scouted days before. It was risky, but clever. No one would suspect a thing. Under the cover of darkness, he dug a deep hole, nearly 8 feet underground, and buried her. Then, he walked away, as if nothing had happened. Ekta Gupta had vanished. For 4 months, her body remained hidden in plain sight. With Vimal's confession, the case against him was airtight. The murder weapon, the blood-stained dumbbell, was recovered from his rented room, along with Ekta's missing jewelry, her phone, and other personal belongings. During his trial, Vimal showed no remorse. He claimed he acted in self-defense, but the court didn't buy it. In February 2025, he was found guilty of first-degree murder. The judge's words were chilling. You not only killed a woman you claimed to love, but you also buried her where no one would think to look. Your crime was calculated, and your punishment will be just as severe. Vimal Soni was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Rahul Gupta, Ekta's husband, was shattered. He had spent months searching for his wife, only to find out that she had been buried just miles away. Their 2 children, too young to understand the full horror of what happened, would grow up without their mother. For Rahul, the biggest question remained: why? Was Ekta's affair worth her life? Had she ever planned to leave him, or was she just caught in something she couldn't escape? The answers died with her. Ekta's story is a haunting reminder of how love, when mixed with obsession, can turn deadly. A secret romance that began in a gym ended 6 feet under the ground. A crime hidden in plain sight, buried in a place no one would dare look. And a murderer who thought he could outsmart the law, only to be undone by his own mistakes. In the end, Ekta Gupta never got justice in life. But in death, her story became a lesson. Be careful who you trust, because sometimes the person you love the most is the one who wants you dead.